Hmm.
We up? Are we back? Hey, we're back, and you caught me picking an eye booger. Yo, what's up? Hey, guys, shout out to our amazing production team for getting us back up. We had some technical difficulties that were beyond our control that happened. Shout out to, I don't know if it was Verizon or Comcast, whoever was rocking with it. You know, technology is it is what it is. We got some amazing things in this world today that allows us to connect, but sometimes it be tripping. And so we back. Speaking of production, though, we do got to shout out a goat in the building right now because my man, the guy who's been holding it down since day one, since episode one, the guy working in the background to make all this possible. Well, I mean that's God, but you know, from a technical standpoint, everybody, uh, our producer, well, our technical producer, our technical director, we got to come up with a dope title. He has a birthday today, and he's still up here holding it down for us, y'all. So shout out, happy birthday, Preston. We love you. We're gonna drop your cash app in the chat so you know people can throw you. Everybody throw him a quick $200 real quick for his birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Preston. We salute you, honor you, and I figured if John didn't want to sing, I wouldn't want to leave you hanging. You understand what I'm saying?
It's not me not wanting to sing.
Uh-huh.
It's that, you know, God has blessed each and every one of us in different ways. And I have a lane that does not even have an exit for singing.
Okay. So I guess I can go ahead and do that. I can do that. Nah, I'll leave that to you, John. We good. We good. We good.
So we can give folks a couple minutes to go ahead and hop in this new live stream. Get up in here. We know a lot of y'all got disconnected. Thank you guys for holding it down. What we'll do sometimes this week is we'll stitch these two halves of the video together, and we'll cut out some of this part to make it a little bit more seamless.
Hey, John, I did want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Well, more so to let you know something I did while we're waiting on people to come in. Over the weekend, you know, I like creating new things. So I got into something new. I made a pencil with two erasers. It was it was pointless.
Oh, I wish I still have my. Wait. Hold on. I got the perfect thing for that. Don't move.
Okay.
Don't move.
Okay.
Don't move.
I'm right here.
Don't move.
Hey, why you doing that? Why you looking for that? Do you want to hear a quick joke about paper? Okay.
All right, shoot.
You want to hear a quick joke about paper?
Sure.
No, no, man. Let's just get back to it. It's because the joke is terrible. It's terrible. You get it? Paper, terrible, tear. I'm on. I'm on.
I just want you guys to know this is what we deal with behind the scenes.
Are they ready? Because I got more. Because I got this joke about pizza. It's cheesy though, but I mean I can still do it. If y'all want me to.
I'll give you your props, Steph. We got a couple folks back in the chat.
Okay.
What's up? We got Amani in the chat. How you doing? You say hi, we say hi. What up, though? All right, if you in the chat, go ahead. Tell us the funniest joke or the corniest joke you've ever heard, because I feel like there's a thin line between the two. You ever notice comedians don't tell jokes no more? Everybody just tells stories. Like, I don't think I've heard a punchline in a comedy special in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know why. Or they just joan, they joan on the audience. Um, what's a few more here? They joan on the audience, but they missing out on the art. Dave Chappelle type.
But I think Dave Chappelle was one of the people who helped that transition into like funny stories more so
Yeah,
than straight up jokes.
yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. Because I was sitting here trying to think of like, what's a good joke I heard? And I'd be laughing at comedy specials, but it's just like I got to tell the whole story, and then it's not my story, you know. I don't know. All
My,
right. Well, we gave folks some time. I think we should go ahead and jump in for the sake of time and everybody who is watching us. So why don't we jump into this thing? So y'all, we got a wheel today. Everyone check out my wheel? Okay. Or not. So we got a couple different topics that are on the wheel. And what we're going to do is we're going to spin this wheel real quick. And then Pastor Steph and I will dialogue about whatever topic comes along and try to give you guys a little bit of clarity and go from there. If you do have a question, it's not too late. We can throw it in there. Let us know. So why don't we go ahead and give this wheel its first spin? A lot of times what we see in life, what we see especially with young folks, what we see is this need to rush. Um, and this comes up in a bunch of different areas, right? We're rushing to get things. It's really interesting because this was added before we knew what Pastor Ballard was preaching about this morning. But there's a need to rush and get things done, but there's also a rush to conclusions. And there's a rush to make judgments on people, and there's a rush to write things off and write people off before we actually take the time to really look at a topic or look at a person and really try to understand both sides. We like one of the things I often try to do when there's a situation that happens in the news is I try to wait to cast a decision or make a post until I've seen both sides of the argument, especially when it's like a person-to-person situation. And then really just taking time to take it all in before I jump in. Because a lot of times one person says something, we all jump on the bandwagon, and then later on we find out some more information and we all been bamboozled, right? Stefan, if you want to jump on this topic, or I don't mind going in a little deeper. That's kind of what we're talking about. So you got some thoughts?
Yeah, that's good with what you said, man. I think like the first thing, even knowing the need that we need to slow down sometimes. I think first just knowing it. And like you said, it's such a vague topic. But I want to narrow it down. Let me ask you. Let me kick it back to you, John. Let me ask you a question. Um, Especially in today's society, what are some of the things you think contribute to like the younger generation? I mean, a lot of people are doing it, but especially the younger generation, what contributes to them not being aware that we need to slow down and have more realistic expectations versus rushing to see this result, or always being on the go? Like, what contributes to that?
I think there's a few factors that I've noticed that I feel really feed into this kind of situation. One of the things I think has been most impactful is the impact of social media. Um, a great example of that is the news. One of the things that, growing up, the news was something where it's just like you print facts. They verified their sources. They went through and they did their investigation before they printed a story, right? But in the age of social media, it's no longer about thorough reporting. It's about getting to the story first.
Right.
So you have these news organizations where it's not about what's going in the paper tomorrow morning. It's about what's going on Twitter 5 seconds after something happens. And so it gets to a point where there's even like ethical situations that happen, like with the Kobe Bryant situation, where there were complaints that the media was reporting on it before the police even had an opportunity to contact the family. And you have this fight for first and this fight for first. And in that fight for first, you can be quick and thorough. There's no way to do both, right? One of the things we grew up hearing all the time is haste makes waste, right? We're so quick to get stuff done, then there's always a toll to that. But what happens in our society is that toll too often are people, right? And so you get people whose lives are ruined, who are dragged on the internet, who are bullied, who go through all of this stuff because we're quick. And half the time we don't even read the article, we read the headline. And the headline be written that makes stuff sensational. We read the headline, respond to that, and don't even move forward. A great example, a couple years ago, there was a story that came out about this aunt who sued because her nephew gave her a hug and it broke her. She hurt herself, so she sued her nephew, right? And so she got dragged. Good Morning America, everybody, worst on ever. What really happened was she broke her arm because her nephew hugged her in a weird way. She was trying to get the medical bills paid through the homeowner's insurance, not through the actual nephew. And that was the only way to do it. So she was suing the homeowner's insurance because they weren't covering it, but they spin the story in this way to make it like this awful thing. But she got stuck with like 10 grand in medical bills. What do you do? And the family fully supporting it. This is what they were told to do. But because the internet is the internet, this woman who is just like caught in the middle of this because somebody saw the story, got picked up, is now was labeled the worst aunt in the world across the globe, just because people are quick to respond. And it makes me think of James 1:19, where it's one. James is one of my favorite books in the Bible. I don't know if we're supposed to have favorites, but I do. Like your parents have favorites. Trust me, they do.
Don't tell them that,
John. But it tells us everyone we should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. And if there's a Bible verse that kind of stands against what current culture is, I think that is, because we're so quick to get angry over any situation that happens. We respond and we riot before we listen. So
that's good. I ain't got no more to say on that. That's good, John. That's good. Let's spin that wheel.
Spin it. Spin it.
What?
I can't read that.
I think that's truth.
All right, we got truth.
This is a good one.
All right.
Ooh, you want to go ahead, start out? Go ahead.
All right, so we live in a culture where truth is often relative, and we struggle with that. I feel like I didn't see some of these guys recently added. I didn't have a chance to note out everything beforehand, but what is truth?
Let me jump in and say this.
Go ahead.
Like seeing this this particular word took me. If y'all got a Bible, y'all can go to 2 Timothy chapter 4. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 3. It says here, for the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. Time is coming where people don't want to hear truth. They don't want to hear the truth about God, His Word, and what sound doctrine is, teachings of the Word of God. That people will go to whatever fits their own itching ears, whether it's Bible or not. And I think in this society, today's society, like it's so important for you to know what truth that truth does exist. Number one, because there's some people now, Mr. John, saying like now there's no truth. Like it's whatever your truth. Everybody talking about your truth, but that's subjective. Like the truth still exists, and it's dangerous for people to say that there's no truth, because that's a statement that contradicts itself. Yeah. If there's no truth, how is there any truth in what you're saying? That is no truth.
Absolutely.
Like I think about a lot of times nowadays you hear people talking about like this new age teaching about energy. And I don't mean to be offensive when I say this, but it's all about energy, how you feel, et cetera, et cetera. We are some people out there teach on it like that we are gods. So there's no real one supreme God that we have to submit under and serve. That a lot of people nowadays say that's not true. It's all about the energy and universe and channeling, etc. Like and coming up with your own truth. But the danger is everything has an origin. Like everything has a beginning. Everything does. And so what is really the origin or the beginning of those type of teachings when you talk about energy, the universe? The question becomes, who is the beginner to produce this energy that everybody should be able to channel? Universal signs, like who is the brain behind that? That's the danger. That's the danger. Are we giving that much credit? Who was it? I think it's China McClain. One of her videos went viral, and she was just like, it's like me looking at my computer right now. And China McClain says it's like looking at the computer, and you say, "Man, this computer is dope. Look at how it can do this, it can do that. It made itself." Like me giving the computer credit for making itself. That's versus the actual person who took time to make the computer. But that's what we do sometimes with the universe. We give the universe all of this credit. But it couldn't have made itself. Like, I just think that's just not consistent with life. I think when you talk about things like love and emotion, et cetera, I've said this before, and I'll digress on it, but like in a room of like 100 second graders, if you were to ask certain questions like, hey, is killing bad? Yes. Like most of them would raise their hand. Even a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, should you do this or that? Most of them be like, yes, no. And probably haven't even been taught about some of these things, right? But it's just in us. God, it's like God has given all of us a conscious.
Yeah.
That's reflective of his heart, where we should know, like, yo, this is good, this is not good. My little baby, like when he came out and was a baby, he knew when he was lying or not. Did you touch that? No. Yes, you did. Something in us knows right or wrong. Like those dynamics, universe couldn't produce. It had to go back to a God who possesses all truth, and distributed it to all mankind, whether they're saved or not. We all have the ability to operate under what we call God's image, the Imago Dei, right? And that gives us the ability to create, to have emotions, to feel, to love. That's something that the universe cannot produce. and I don't mean to be I'm gonna just leave that right there before I go too far with it. But I think we do have to ask more questions, challenge more than what we see out here. I think it's easier for people to say there's no truth or come up with your own truth, because then we don't have to be accountable to the truth. And that's what it
Absolutely.
comes down to. Most of us don't want to be accountable. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's comfortable to live in a world where you define your own rules. And at the end of the day, we learned from a practical standpoint, from a scientific standpoint, the difference between fact and opinion, right? And a lot of times we switch the two right now in culture, especially when it comes to social issues. But there has to be there is a ultimate truth to every situation. Like, we hear all the time when you're talking about debates, there's three sides to a story. There's his side, her side, and the truth. There, in that conversation, her side and his side, they're not truths. They're perspectives, their opinions, but ultimately there's one truth to every subject. And we have to understand that regardless of what we may feel or what may be comfortable for us or what might help us sleep better at night when it comes to our situation, truth is truth. And I love what you said. And I remember when you talked about the competing nature of everyone having their own truth. I remember, I think Lecrae put it, he was like, if what's true for me is true for me, and what's true for you is for you. What if my truth says your truth is a lie? Is it still true? And that's the problem
Wow.
when we substitute opinion for fact. And what I think about when it comes to this is also just, and you touched on it, I think, when it comes to even our faith, there's so much we've mixed in. Over time, we've mixed in practices from different religions. Mixed in practices from our ancestors, even though most of us ain't Egyptian and we be rocking Egyptian stuff like it's crazy, even though we from the whole other coast. But that's a whole nother conversation people ain't ready for. Like Egyptians was banging with the rest of Africa back in the day. But y'all ain't ready for that part either. Anyway, but and it's crazy because I'll see people online and they're posting about zodiac this, that, and the third, and burning this to clear the house and doing all these other things. But the minute someone does something that passes their personal bar, all of a sudden, oh, that ain't God. And we don't realize this whole time we've been living in some tricky situations and we've been flirting with other influences the whole time. But we create our own version of Christianity and our own version of truth that suits what we are comfortable with. Anyway,
That's good. John,
let's spin that wheel.
yeah, no, John, I think real quick on that, how could somebody out there that's saying, how can I become more rooted in what I do believe, right? And knowing what truth is, um, how can I become more rooted? Because it's one thing for us to just say, hey, this is what you should believe or do. And I just say this. I remember being in Washington Bible College, and though I was in a Bible college, I was still a skeptic. I'm like, I don't know. And I took the route of like, let me question.
Yeah,
Ask questions.
absolutely.
And I think we should talk about that. Just not a long time because we're already at 12:30, but just, is it okay to ask questions? Because like sometimes Christians think, well, since the pastor said it, I just need to take it. Is that a wise approach?
No.
Uh, like, is it okay to question, and like, how do we discover what truth is in various areas?
So I'll say this because I'm not going to put any other pastor on blast, right? I've been teaching at Zion for now going on 5 or 6 years. And I guarantee you, if I go back to some of the messages I've taught over the years, knowing what I know now and having matured to where I am now, there are things that I've taught, that I've said, and conclusions that I've come to that I would disagree with today, right? No pastor is perfect. We're all influenced by our own perspectives. We try our best to make sure that we are representing the word of God as accurately as we can, but no one gets it right 100% of the time. And the beauty is, right, we live in a time where everyone has access to a Bible and you can go read it for yourself. If your pastor preaches on, for instance, I mentioned James 1:19 earlier. It takes 5 minutes to go read James 1, maybe 1 and 2, and get that in for yourself. And like one of the things that helped me grow is I question everything. I would and this is because I'm combative and it's the way my brain works. I would try to prove folks wrong. And so I would go in and I would look at what the Bible said. If the Bible said a certain way, then I would acquiesce to the Bible. But there's a lot of things, even when I would come across in the Bible, that I struggle with. There are sections of the Bible today where I read that I'm still uncomfortable with, that I don't get from a logical standpoint. I don't get from a human standpoint. And I think the best thing to do is to continue to wrestle with those things, to continue to research, to continue to cross-reference and go and get commentaries and ask questions and look up videos from people you trust that have answers. If I don't have an answer, there might be somebody that I know that I trust that I can point you in a direction to. But you have to keep pushing, have discussions with friends and try to work these things out with friends who are looking for truth the same as you. Debate people and look at other perspectives, but ultimately understand that God's word is true. And that's where we start with. And then from there, it's about figuring out what are our personal roadblocks that are holding us back from that. But you have your Bible, you have the internet. I have a whole shelf right here beside me, just full of commentaries and other books from authors that help me to understand, because we have a lot of people who've been looking into some of the questions they devote their whole life to trying to answer that question. So you have resources if you really want to, but a lot of times you don't want to really know the truth. We just want to hand it to us. And sometimes you got to do a little digging. You got to get your hands dirty.
Yeah. Now that's good, man. That's good. Yeah. I would encourage everybody, make sure you take a note of gotquestions.org.
Yeah.
Gotquestions.org. That is a reliable source, I believe. When you run into certain questions about the word and things like that, go to gotquestions.org. And still, I'm not going to say everything you see on there is law, but it'll give you different perspectives based on those who did research on your specific question. But yeah, good stuff, man.
I also say we forgot, pray, right? If you
Sure.
struggle with something, pray about it and just spend some time with God to try to work through your heart. And you could also hit us up.
And man, you make it. This is good because you may end up landing somewhere on a specific topic that somebody else may not agree with, and that's okay. Like there are certain things that are like foundational and fundamental. Like we believe that Jesus is God. Now, if you're a Christian or believer, like that's not one that I think a believer should split hairs on. Like that's a fundamental belief that Jesus is God. Like he has the power to save us. But there gonna be some other topics that you may see, have a different opinion about, and that's okay. But all right, good. I don't want to stay too long there. John, we have
If
go
I
ahead.
can though, because you just said something good. Like you can have a different opinion of. And I think that's what trips up a lot of Christians, right? Because there are things in the Bible that are black and white. Like this is what it says, boom. And there are things in the Bible where we have to infer because, they didn't exist when the Bible was written. We got like, what does God say about online dating? Those things didn't exist. What does God say about liking pictures on the internet? We have to infer based on other things that similar that happened back in the day and kind of build our theology, but those things become opinion. And a lot of times we end up fighting folks on what's opinion. And there's a difference between what we talked about before about truth and absolute truth and things where it's just like, this is what I believe God would want. And sometimes, God will convict you to live your life in a certain kind of way and not engage in certain things because that's what you need. It's not necessarily a rule for the world.
Yeah, that's good, man. That is good, brother. Well, look, I think we one more spin or what?
Hey, I'm down. We did lose a lot of time when the stream went down. So I know we in overtime technically, but we lost a good 15 minutes. So
Let's go one more because we did that'll be three. Uh, uh.
oh, we got social media.
Social media. There's so much that could be said on this one. Social media. I
Oh,
think I think I think it is one of the best things that have happened to us and one of the worst at the same time. Um, because to some degree it has robbed us of um, I think the appreciation and skill of being social in
yeah,
real um, and now for some of us like we've I think one of our mentors recently said like before he posts he has to remind himself to post from love and not for love.
mm,
And I think a lot of times it's crazy how like on Instagram it's a love button but it's actually like.
mm,
But psychologically they want us to interpret every like as love, to be love.
mm,
And what we see is a lot of us are just walking around with again a major deficit. A lot of us don't feel love. We don't feel significant. We don't feel important, whether it's family life, personal, you name it, at our jobs. And so we look at that for a certain level of validation. Um, and I think all of us are guilty. I think it's just a matter of being aware of it. But I like that little too. He says when you do post from love. The fact that I'm already loved by God eternally, in spite of me. I'm eternally loved. I'm eternally known and accepted by the God of the universe. So when I post, I'm posting from love, not for love. That's
that's good. Yeah, I agree. Social media is definitely one of those things where uh, it can be a struggle to separate reality from fiction for a lot of, especially young people, because so much of what's posted online is photoshopped or airbrushed, or it creates a narrative that isn't true, right? You look down on your relationships because you see this Instagram couple that seems to have it all together, but they're curating,
wow.
right, their experience that they're sharing with the world. They're not giving you the 100, and you're looking at the 100 compared to the 10%, and it throws people off, right? When you look at your circle of friends, right, most of us only bang with like few folks. Like if I had to name people like who I would want to be stuck in the house with for more than 24 hours, I could probably count them on my fingers, right? But when we get in that social media space, we want engagement from hundreds. We want to post a picture and get 200, 300 likes or whatever. But like, we don't care about that many people in the real world, right? You walk around school, you don't care about 200, 300 people. You care about your crew, right? Or you might care about Shoddy or homeboy you trying to holler at, but beyond that, it's not important. And so we just have this false reality where everything on social media is so curated that it throws us out of the reality of being who we are. God has created you to be you and own your uniqueness. The thing I do love about social media, though, is it has allowed people to flourish, right? You have those quiet kids who are amazing artists who can share their work and create their little pockets of the internet where they can be who they are and they can share and they can get that validation. You have information sharing where a lot of the stuff that we are addressing from a societal standpoint, from a equity standpoint, from a racial standpoint, are stories that we would have never heard about pre-social media. A perfect example, this whole George Floyd case. If there wasn't for social media, that would have been a local news story that got run once. Man, dad, boom, boom, boom. It would have been a 10-second audio clip on a newscast at 7 o'clock on Channel 4, and it would have died right then and there. And we wouldn't be seeing the changes in society that we're seeing today if it wasn't for social media being able to get those stories out and get people engaged and giving people a space to coordinate and work together to build something, to push society forward. So I agree. It's the best of things. It's the worst of things.
That's real, man. And I think one of the things I'm encouraging younger people, but also older people, whoever, to be mindful of the fact that like this is a great tool, but this thing can really rob a person of achieving greatness for themselves. Like the people who created these apps are millionaires, if not more. So they already there, but we got to be careful because, like, what about my life? What about your life? You know what I mean? It shows like for teens, a lot of teens now spending about 6 hours a day on social media, right? And I understand like we need our time and doing this and that, but I encourage people every 3 to 5 months of your life, if somebody asks you, what are you aiming at right now? Every 3 to 5 months of your life, there should be something, at least 2 or 3 big rocks that at the drop of a dime, if somebody asks you, what you aiming at right now? What are you trying to hit? There should be at least 2 to 3 big targets. And when I say big, I mean they're just important for you. They don't got to be big for everybody else. Yeah. But they're big. What I mean by this, please hear me close if you don't hear nothing else. Like, what I mean is there's always going to be stuff to do. But right now, in my phone, I got a list, and I titled it, I stole it from LeBron James. He called 0 Dark 30. Most people who know LeBron James, whenever you see him post 0 Dark 30 on his Instagram, he in playoff season and nothing else is going to distract me right now. So my 0 Dark 30 right now in my phone, I know the top about 3 or 4 things in there that I gotta hit. I gotta hit. And then after that, depending on how you set it up, 3 to 5 month cycle, you add some of those same things to the next season if you need to keep them on, or you add something new. But you should always be aiming at something. Yeah. Maybe it might be personal, business, whatever the case may be. Because here's what I noticed. Like when I ask young people that randomly, I don't know, so what you be doing? I just, go to work, da-da-da. Come on, you got to get your head out the sand. Social media, you could end up here all day long making them richer. Like they're getting rich off our engagement. At some point, you got to invest that energy into you. Yeah. So I pray that everybody on here, before Friday hits, challenge yourself. Let me pull out my phone and find 2 or 3 big things that I gotta hit. I might not finish it in 3 to 5 months, but you should be going at it. That way, the reason I have that for myself every 3 to 5 months is this. I tell people all the time, too much free time is going to cost you. Yeah. Too much free time is going to cost you. And the second thing I tell people is that there's always something to do because there's always something to learn. So you should never find yourself just sitting around saying, I don't have anything to do. There's always something to learn. It's podcasts out here, books out here, YouTube. It's mentors that you could be connecting with, something you can be aiming at, something. I could be interning. I don't know. Like, and if you need help building that list, These things should be building you, building your life, giving you experience in certain things. It may not be big results connected that you might be able to post and all of this, but sometimes I might just tell myself I'm going to do two free classes in this particular area. Like whatever you think you're good at, I might just do classes and nobody has to know it. It might be free, but that's just something I'm going to put on my list because I want to be a better speaker. I want to, like, it's certain things I want to be better at, and I don't just want to be average. I'm sorry, John. This is one. Like, so you gotta have that list, y'all. I'll say this. I'll close and say this. There's a dog called the Samoa dog, one particularly from Russia, double-layered white dog, and they say it's the most expensive dog out right now. $14,000 for this Samoa dog. You know why? It's because it's rare. It's a rare breed. It's rare. 14. A lot of dogs are cute, but all of them ain't rare. I'm just saying, for me and whoever I'm talking to out there, you should be like a Samoa dog, rare. And you want to become as rare as possible, because this what I'm about to say is going to hurt my own feelings. After a while, you can tell how rare you may be. Woo, that's going to hurt my own feelings. Based upon the value or dollar connected to you. And that hurt my own feelings because I want to make more money. That means I got a lot more work to do. But what I'm telling y'all is that Samoa dog don't cost $14,000 for no reason. It's because it's rare. If many of y'all want wealth to hit your families, I got a goal that before I die, I want to hit a number for my entire family. So when you wake up, that number should drop. Okay, let me shut up, John. I'm just saying, social media and the owners are already rich. Don't let them pull you in so much where you miss out on growing for yourself and being the best you, not just for you, but everybody that's connected to you.
You know, that's good. That's good. And what it makes me think about, right? There's two ways to gain value in something, right? Stuff that's rare and stuff that's pure, right? So when you think about something like gold, right? 24 karat gold is worth a lot more than 14 karat gold, right? A flawless diamond is worth a lot more than a flawed diamond. But I remember watching a video, and this guy had took gold scraps, and he went through like a 15-step process to take those gold scraps and turn it into little nuggets, not even enough to make a ring, right? And so one of the things that it really makes me think about, it kind of goes back to the conversation we were having a little bit earlier. It's just like, how much effort are you putting into refining what you're putting out, right? Because when you refine what you put out, it adds value. When you take the time to learn and grow and to process your words and to make sure that you're not just throwing garbage out into the world, or you're not just talking into the ether to talk into the ether. You're not just throwing posts up just to be posting, but you take the time to curate that experience and make sure that what you're saying is accurate, what you're saying has value, what you're saying is true, what you're saying uplifts people. That's where you really kind of bring that rarity and purity. Those are the two things that are going to put you on top. And if you can't be rare, you need to be pure. And if you can't be pure, you need to be rare. But if you can be both, that's how you get value. That's why gold is so expensive. That's why platinum is so expensive, right?
Hey, this, whoo, for the few people that joined today, I pray y'all caught these nuggets, man. That there, hold on real quick. There's a scripture, man, that come to mind with what we're talking about. It's in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 4, and it says, The soul of a sluggard or a lazy person craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. Richly supplied. You could be a sluggard, you could be diligent. Sluggard, they crave, I want, and it says they get nothing. They operate on they pray for miracles, but don't want to apply principles. Lord, do it. And God be like, what you gonna do? Sluggard craves and gets nothing. The soul of the diligent is richly supplied. Man, so no, John, thank you, man. Cause my that's just my belief. When I get, Lord willing, we grow all to be old and decrepit. And if we are blessed to have some final thoughts while we're laying on whatever bed we're laying on, I would hate for some of my final thoughts to be, I wish I didn't spend so much time on social media.
Yeah.
Because I could have did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And for some of y'all watching, it may not be social media. You might have another thing. And it might be good because it might feed your soul. Everybody needs those things. I have a list of things in my phone that feed my mind, things that I want to do. Then I have a body section, how I want to treat my body. I have a soul section, things that just feed me emotionally. I like to go bowling, and there's certain things I like to watch, etc. And then I have a spirit section, things that keep me fed spiritually. I think you need all four.
Yeah.
I think it has its place, but you just got to know how much of yourself to give to certain things based upon the outcome that it's going to ultimately give you.
Yeah. And for those of you listening, here at heart, this isn't a bunch of old dudes trying to shame you for being on your phone, right? Yeah. We get it. We on social media too, and social media hires some of the greatest experts in their field to make these experiences as addictive as possible. I can't tell you how many times I've been on my phone, scroll through social media, close the app, swipe left on my phone, swipe right, and then open up the same app I just closed. Like, I don't know. I know I'm not the only one who does that. Just you close it just to open it right back up, or you switch to just a different social media feed. But we get it, right? But that's why we're saying this to you guys, because we're there. We have the same struggle, and we know that if we're going to move forward and we're going to do something with these lives that we have that are so short, we gotta fight that urge, and we got to do something a little bit different.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Thank you, John. And I would encourage y'all, for those who want to go a little deeper, you could probably YouTube or Google some stuff about the connection between social media and dopamine, the chemical in your mind. Social media and dopamine. Simon Sinek, a guy named Simon Sinek, does something about it. But it's some material out there. Find the connection, because then you'll understand how deep this really is. Like, you just got to learn how your brain works.
Simon's that dude.
That's the man. Literally, depending on how much you do something, your brain is sending a signal to yourself saying, go do this, just to feel this particular release. Dopamine. Just so you can feel that release of like, I did it. Like, you don't even know, some of you don't even know what's happening in your brain. Mm-hmm. Like, but the moment you discover like what's happening, you can do what we talked about earlier. Slow yourself down and say, oh, this is sending this signal, wanting me to do this just so I can feel like this. What is another way that I can get this same feeling without having to go to the same medium?
Yeah.
Maybe I can put something in place and reward myself. Oh, after I listen to this, or after I read this, I'll reward myself in this way. But John, I think we said enough, man.
Yeah, we've been rapping, bro.
Rapping, man. This was like two uncles. we two old head uncles talking about Instagram, and then we about to get
on them Instagrams and them Snapchats and TikToks and all them.
And then we about to be on it.
Y'all need to stop scrolling through your phones all the time.
Put their phones down.
Look, we're on social media. Tell them not to be on social media. Come to you live on social media. Why you shouldn't be here? Turn us off.
So we hope y'all get the point. It's balance. It's about balance. It's about balance. More so obedience. I'll say that. Yes, indeed. All right, man. Well, we want to thank our producers. Once again, shout out to Preston. Happy birthday, brother. Shout out to our good man, Pastor Dondre. And we continue to keep him and his family in prayer. We miss you, brother. Shout out to the Fort Washington campus, Landover, good old Woodbridge. Everybody, man. I hope y'all don't hear my kids going on.
We do, but it's all right.
It's the quarantine life. Amen. John, any final words, man? Thank you so much, brother.
Hey, you hit it. Hey, guys, we love you guys and all this. I hope if you guys missed this, go back and check out some of these pieces because there were some nuggets dropped. Yeah, just keep fighting for truth, keep fighting for love, keep fighting for each other. And I hope to see you guys back in person soon.
Much love.
All right, guys. God bless.